Hey, Rich,
Hey, Michael.
and welcome everybody to BitPunch Radio episode 054. On tonight's episode, we are going to be discussing Predator. Starting or been continuing my trek of old movies that I've not watched. So we're going through the Predator series right now. May actually skip a couple. Um,
No.
Rich, I hear those Alien versus Predator movies are pretty awful. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so they're like mainline. There's 5 mainline Predator movies. There's Prey, Predator, Predator 2, Predators, The Predator.
Yep, you got it.
That's
You
so
have to
awful.
watch. You have to watch Predator 2.
Oh, I'm gonna. Yeah, that's next.
Yeah,
That's next.
yeah. You
Um,
can't skip that one.
no, yeah, I'm thinking of skipping. If you're okay with it, the Alien versus Predator and whatever the second one of those is,
Mm,
or I don't remember what it's called, but
yeah, something like that.
essentially they're not canon. They're awful movies. They're not worth your time. I've also heard that last Predator movie's not worth my time, but I feel like I need to at least commit to watching the mainline Predator series. So 5 movies, we'll get through them. Predator, I'll give my thoughts. We're also going to talk about. I'm in a little bit of a gaming rut. I want to talk about some of the stuff I've been trying to get into. Some new stuff on here too. And let's see here. You've got. I want some updates on Words of Radiance. We did play a little Destiny. We played some Stray. And then there was a big Apple event. So I think we'll get into the meat of that. So let's kick it off. Rich, what's up, buddy? What you been up to?
Oh man, I haven't done a ton here in the last couple of weeks. I had a little trip that I
Yeah.
took over the Labor Day holiday weekend here in the America. Um, so But I did kind of fall into an old game in a weird way.
Okay.
Uh, so I don't really remember why, but I decided that I wanted to download and play Destiny 2.
Mm-hmm.
It may have been because of the new expansion that's coming out, I think next February of
Light,
2023. I think
light
it's called
something.
Lightfall.
Sure.
Um, I had somebody at work gift me the Witch Queen
Mm.
like on Steam, because he said it's like way better than back when we played it. I think we played the Forsaken DLC, and then like the main game, like what was the main Destiny 2 campaign when
So
Destiny 2 launched.
Forsaken didn't launch with it, right?
No,
So we didn't
no,
go in at the ground floor. We kind of went in after it's
yeah, because it's like a living MMO thing.
right,
Like we came into it during the Forsaken part and played like the original Destiny campaign because that was still there.
right.
And I don't even remember if we played any of the actual Forsaken content.
Yeah, I think we got
Uh
through. I think we got through Destiny 2,
yes,
like
we did. We
vanilla,
Yeah, we beat base Destiny 2.
and had
Um
fun with it.
yes. Yes, a lot of fun. I think our complaints then was it was just a lot of like go run that way and do this
Right,
thing and then turn around and like go run this other way.
right.
And I don't think we really were like into the lore of it.
Hmm.
But I've heard nothing but good things about Witch Queen, which came out earlier this year, and actually the last couple of expansions, the kind of hardcore Destiny crowd has been like, no, this is like these have been okay, or pretty good. With Witch Queen being kind of the high mark of those expansions. Um, Man, Destiny 2 is a really good shooter.
Yes, yes.
I forgot that Bungie knows how to make a first-person shooter fun and feel kind of unlike anything else that's out there. Um, kind of like very like Bungie games have this very distinctive feeling in the way like a Battlefield game has this very distinctive
Right.
feeling, or like a Call of Duty game
Hmm.
like has this feeling to it of the like the way the guns shoot and the way you move. And just like I don't know. I just forgot like how good that felt in Destiny. Um, and so I got the Witch Queen, just went right into Witch Queen. It does the thing where it brings you up to the right level, power level, and kind of upgrades all your weapons to like the base level for Witch Queen, which I think is power level 1350.
Yeah.
And then you kind of start getting loot right away and kind of upgrading and doing all this stuff. There is I think the problem with Destiny is it is in some ways impenetrable. There is so much going on in the menus and things you can do. There's PvP. There's uh, um, like co-op stuff that you can do with other players. Like in the Vanguard, there's all these different planets in the menus and like stuff to do. Like it's just constantly throwing stuff at you to do, along with like your main campaign. And there's like challenges and battle pass and like or season pass and all that stuff. There's just a lot,
Right.
and I've kind of gotten myself into it, and I'm kind of getting into the lore a little bit. And Witch Queen, the specific Witch Queen content seems like really cool. Like the way the levels are designed, the way the levels look is very like different than what I remember Destiny 2 being. Um, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. Even playing it solo. You and I played about like the first hour or so, I'd
Sure.
say,
Yeah.
of the Witch Queen like campaign, and it was fun like going through it and playing it with you. But I was having like just as much fun playing it by myself, and kind of running around. I don't know if it's going to do this like throughout the game, but it started giving me like now that I'm like into the overworld of Witch Queen, it's giving me like side quests and stuff to do. And one of those side quests was like it threw me into like a little instanced level with other players. Like it just match made me with two other players. And like we did this little like dungeon run that probably lasted like 15 minutes, but it was all part of the story. Like there was story stuff happening, and it was really cool. I'm digging Destiny 2.
Wow. Okay.
I'm kind of into Destiny 2 right now. There's not a lot else that I really want to play at the moment.
Right.
Um, I was kind of hovering over that Far Cry 6 sale that was going on. It was on sale for like 23.99. It's like I don't know. Like I've played so many of those games
Yeah.
at this point. I think they've kind of burnt me out, and I kind of got Destiny Witch Queen for free, so I was like, let's give that a whirl.
Sure. Yeah.
I I remember liking it, but not loving it. Um, so yeah, I'm kind of I'm excited. I got back from my little mini vacation on Tuesday, and last night kind of tried to catch up on some of the TV stuff that I missed out on.
Hmm.
I haven't gotten to play Destiny, and that's all I can think about
Wow.
in
Okay.
Destiny right now. So yeah.
So the lore, you're liking the lore of it, like the story that it's telling,
Yeah,
because
I think it's interesting. I'm trying to get into it. Like, I'm having to go. The game is not. I mean, it's giving you story stuff. It has cutscenes, but it's not going out of its way to be like, all right, here's who this person is. Here's who that person is. It does a little bit of that. So I'm doing some like reading outside of the game, like on the interwebs,
right.
of like trying to get caught up. Like, here's this 15-minute YouTube video to get you caught up on the lore of Destiny up to the Witch Queen. Just
And
get me up there. You know.
I need that. So I want your excitement. I don't have that excitement. I
Yeah.
had fun playing with you.
Yeah.
But I tried to load it and play by myself and was running around and I just didn't feel compelled. I feel like uh my memory sucks. So I couldn't tell you a single thing we did in Destiny 2, like the
Me
base
neither.
game, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm dropped in like a 10 book series, like book 6. And I'm
Exactly.
just like, I don't know, like, who are these enemies? Why am I doing this? Like, who are these people I'm talking to on the side of this cliff that are giving me these missions? So I think I need to take a step back and watch some lore and try to get into the whole like what am I doing here? There's Earth, there's the moon, there's Mars. I'm just or there's no Earth, right? Isn't that
No, there's Earth.
okay? Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm just missing that. Not that I need like a compelling story or anything, but I do need like something to grab onto, and maybe that's what I need to do. I need to just like watch one of those lore videos and I I hate skipping DLC. I hate knowing that there's 3 years of stuff that I just skipped. But like if the story's interesting and the environments were interesting, I like being instanced. What you were talking about because I did that with Final Fantasy 14. So they would do things like that, but a dungeon would take you about 45 minutes to get through. I like the fact
right,
that you're saying, it's just like a 15-minute little thing, gives you a little bit of story, you get in and get out. That sounds really cool. Like something that I could even, spend. I like the games where you can hop in for 30 minutes
hmm
and feel like you accomplished something. I think that's why I like RPGs so much because I can load up an RPG and like grind a level and be like, okay, I'm that much closer, So, um, I want to play Destiny. Hey, I bought the Witch Queen. So I want to get into it. I need to spend a little bit of time trying to get into the actual story because I think that's the thread that I'm missing. The game
right.
feels fucking awesome to play. I mean,
Yes,
there's really
yes.
nothing better than, than I like I swear I probably was annoying anytime I R3'd someone and the camera pulls back and you just like slap them right in the face. That just feels good every time you do it. That'll
Yeah,
always
I mean
feel good. So,
it gives you it gives you your powers and stuff like that, and all the shooting feels really good. But like all those powers and being able to move around and like jump and like you can like
I
hover.
fly.
Yeah,
I
you're
mean,
like a
I'm like
flying.
flying.
Like yeah, like we were having fun. Like oh, that was like you're like man, look at this cool fucking thing I can do,
Mhm.
or whatnot. And it's pretty deep. Like think that's what I like about it probably the most is just how deep the gameplay is. You have those three different power sets that you can switch between. Um, Tons of different weapons that are all very different.
Mhm.
Um, and like all your armor affects all your stats. Like that part of it is is pretty integral for me to like you know want to run some of these maybe more boring missions or whatever. Um, but so far I'm having fun with it. But like all the raids are still there, all that all that other content, like daily challenges. Like there's so much content that like people who are like Destiny 2 is their thing. They're like, okay, we're in season like 28 or whatever it is. Like here's all the things I got to do to get all the way through everything in this season.
What does that mean
This
though for somebody? So like somebody that's in Destiny and they're doing like what are they getting out of those daily challenges?
like special loot and stuff. So like
Okay.
they're like in Destiny has seasons which are 3 months and then years. So like Forsaken was year 2, Shadowkeep was year 3, Beyond Light was year 4, Witch Queen was year 5, Lightfall is year 6. And then each year has seasons within it that are 3 months. So
Mm,
like they every once a new season starts, they're like, okay, here's the carrot on the stick. It's this weapon, or it's this armor set, or it's this stuff that you can go do that's only available during this season if you do XYZ.
okay.
Um, so that
I mean,
that's the kind
Fortnite
of
does
stuff that they're
that, but
doing. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff they're doing to keep people who play it all the time, you know, satiated, like
sure.
wanting to come back and play it. Um, but I'm having fun. I'm never gonna be that person. But if I
Right.
can be like half that person, I'm cool with it. I can get in there and do some fun shit and shoot some stuff and it's nice. I can just pick it up and go. Like I can just go play, load into a thing, go to one of the markers on the HUD and just do a thing.
What
Pop
what
right back
game
out.
have you ever been that person on?
Uh I mean definitely like early Halo,
Yeah.
like Halo 3, uh, like a live service game. I don't know. Probably Halo 3 and
Yeah.
2, definitely. I mean,
Mine
every
was
time
COD
a map pack
4.
came out, yeah, every time a map pack came out, like on Halo 2 or Halo 3, fucking day one. But that's so much different now than what
It
it
is,
was
right.
then. You know, there's a lot more content that you're being pushed toward.
And I've
So yeah,
never like sunk my teeth into an MMO, so yeah,
no, yeah,
that's just passed me by. I don't have time for
yeah,
that anymore.
yep. So that's Destiny 2. I'm gonna keep playing it. Um, we'll definitely want to get like through the Witch Queen. I think it's like 10 or 12 hours long total.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Um, so not too bad. Um, let's see. I think the only other game that I played since the last episode is Stray, which is the cat RPG, not RPG, cat simulator, I
Sure.
guess.
Yeah. Little
Uh,
puzzle.
yeah, it's a little platformer puzzly game. Um, you're like a cat on a kind of dystopian world filled with robots. Um, kind of locked to like in this like big city, and most of the game is just you being a cat and kind of running around and jumping on stuff and scratching rugs and uh, purring and meowing and stuff. And I think we played that on stream. Uh, must have been a couple weeks ago. And I think the most impressive thing uh, about that game, other than like the art in that game is really good, and like some of the framing that they do with some of like these shots and like the way they frame like the camera, I think is really good. But like the mannerisms of the cat
Yeah.
are like spot on, and like it's hard to explain if you've never owned a cat and like lived with a cat.
hmm
Like it's on the money, and there's like all these little things that like cats will do that this cat is doing. We have not gotten the little butt wiggle yet,
No.
like pre-jump. That's going to be pretty integral to this experience. Uh, that's worth like 6 stars on a 10-star scale. Uh, but it seems pretty cool. I haven't went back and played much more of it. I was kind of wanting to let the kids maybe see some of that.
hmm
So, but I do plan on finishing that because I don't think it's very long. I think we already played like an hour and a half, 2 hours of it.
Right.
So, unfortunately, have not played any more RE2. That game is broken as hell on my PC. Every time I launch it, it gives me this error, and then I go to Reddit, and they're like, "Yeah, you're fucked. You got to
Really?
get a new."
Wow.
You have to, I like have to go download another save. Like I think my save is corrupted. Um,
Oh,
so Lord only knows where I am in that game.
I don't know if it's
Um,
strong enough to start over, you know?
we're gonna we'll see. I'm gonna wait and see if they update it again.
Okay.
Maybe they'll fix it. Or
Hopefully.
I've uninstalled, reinstalled. I've updated everything. Drivers, computer. I don't know what else to do. Um, but I will keep trying.
Okay.
When I get it working, we will start that back up.
I feel like we're missing the main meat of that game, you know?
Yeah,
There's
yeah, yeah. I don't know. We're
it
like
seems
3
very
hours into
generic.
that thing.
Yeah, it seems very
Yeah,
generic right now. So, but people
yeah,
were so high on it. So it's like we're missing whatever that is.
yeah, yeah. So that's games for me. That's all that I've played.
All right, well let me talk to you a little bit about some video games here. I'm in a rut right now. Um
Yeah, you're where I was pre-Destiny. Like Destiny has reinvigorated me.
that's great.
I am excited about a video game.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna
I
I'm gonna flash Steam on my camera for like a hot second and then move it
yeah,
because
so
there's other games that I wanted to talk to you about.
oh okay. All right.
Once you get going here because I feel like they're up your alley.
Okay. So I've played Destiny 2, we covered that. I installed Tinykin, which is the um that is the Pikmin like game that is on Game Pass. People
Okay.
were kind of going well, people were talking pretty highly of that, and I installed it, and kind of immediately within the first hour of playing it was just like, I kind of know what this is doing and it's not really for me.
Mm,
um Seems pretty generic. But my son seemed really interested, so it is a kid's game, something he could play. Seems like it was well made, but just not what I'm looking for right now. Maybe Matt Perry in a past life or future might be into that, but just it's not what I'm looking for. So Far Cry 5 came to Game Pass about a week or two ago. And yeah, you kept mentioning Far Cry 6, and I was like, well, I can get Far Cry 5 for free. And seemed like people enjoyed it. If you like Far Cry, I like Far Cry. Installed that, played about 3 hours of that. That game does a poor job of. Okay, well, let me back up. That game starts pretty strong. It's about a cult. You're in Montana. I like the setup of it. The problem is they shove the fact that you're playing a video game about an hour and a half into it. It literally does a screen where it's like, hey, you've got 4 mission types. Here are the mission types that you will be doing across this game. And I was just like, that's a weird way. Well, like, why'd you do that? So, like, you're going to infiltrate, you will destroy monuments, and then there's a couple other, like, simple things. Do tasks for people. And it just was like, well, I don't really, that wasn't, I don't know. That kind of, like, sucked the wind out of the sails. So I was like,
Yeah.
well, I'll give it a little longer. So I kept playing, and that game, like, is fun. It looks pretty on my Series S. Um, and I start climbing a tower, and they're
Oh.
just like, they do the thing where they're like, the guy on the radio is just like, hey, we're not gonna make you climb a bunch of towers in this, or like almost like in this video game, okay? And I'm just like, I'm not into this. There's just like it just seems so formulaic. And
Yeah.
I'm hot off Assassin's Creed Origins, which was a fantastic game, but it's like I'm just I need something a little more than what this is giving me. So uninstalled it. Like, nah, I'm good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then my son has been playing Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, which came out last year. And it is essentially it's like I'm gonna say it's an open world kinda, but it's a whole story of Dragon Ball Z you're playing, and it honestly is good. It surprised me because it seemed like it was gonna be like a just a cash grab, but the fighting is fun. It looks good. It's kind of button mashy, but you can like throw a trigger and do like some cool Dragon Ball Z stuff. So we're super into Dragon Ball Super right now. I think we're like almost 50 episodes into it.
Okay.
Um, and so we picked up that game on Xbox, and it's fun. It's been fun, but he's playing it on my account, and it does like the autosave thing. So if I try to get in there and start a new save, like play it from the beginning, it would start wiping his shit. And so I'm just like gonna just let him kind of run with that. I'll help from time to time. It's not super hard, but it can. I mean, he has problems with some of the fights, so Dad comes in to the rescue. Blah blah blah. Um, I'm not playing anything on mobile. There's some stuff that's coming this year that I'm like excited to try. I've always been interested in playing Persona, and Persona 5 Royal or Royale or whatever it is coming to Game Pass like before the end of the year. I think I've seen November. So that's coming out. And then Gotham Knights is coming out. I want to play that. There's one of those Harvestella, which is it's like a mix of Stardew Valley and like a JRPG. So I'm like, that sounds great. I want to try that
It's
out.
Harvest Moon.
Huh?
So it's Harvest Moon.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Harvest Moon probably doesn't have as much like combat as this game does.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like a cross between like all of that. Um, so then CD Projekt Red, um, was just like, hey, we're going to release The Witcher 3, like the next gen version. And if you own it on PC, you can get it for free. And so I've been kind of holding out because I don't own the full Witcher 3 with everything. I bought
Okay.
Vanilla Witcher 3 on PlayStation. I bought Vanilla Witcher 3 on Steam a long time ago. And then I never bought it for Xbox because it was on Game Pass at one point. It's been over a year before when they took it off, but I was just like, I'm not gonna buy it on Xbox, and then I haven't came back around to it. Well, I was looking on my Steam list and I noticed that I bought a shitload of Witcher 3 stuff at some point that I completely forgot about. I have
Mm,
all the DLC and then I have a bunch of random DLC thing, like extra skins for Ciri and Geralt and
yeah,
yeah, things like that.
all that stuff was free. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Um so I bought the DLCs separately. I must have grabbed them in like one of the Steam sales just thinking like I know I'll get back to this at some point. It's installed. I'm going
Oh
to
man.
give it a shot.
Oh man.
I have to. I mean, I'm not in the middle of playing anything, and there's really nothing outside of Destiny. There's really nothing out that I'm in the mood to play. In September, and if you get into Gotham Knights, I would play it. Otherwise, I'm not probably really going to play that game. So really, until November, when Harvestella and Pokemon, which is another game I want to play, which Pokemon's gonna probably sit under the Christmas tree. So it'll be end of December before I can play that one. But there's a couple games I want to play. They're just not coming out anytime soon. I want to give Witcher 3 another shot. The mods seems like there's some really good mods out there that make it a little easier. I'm not above using mods. I just want to experience that story. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm at.
Are you gonna pick up where you left off?
I don't know. What do you think? What do you think I should do? Should I just do
Oh
that?
man.
Because I got about 25 hours into that game.
Hmm. Do you remember where you left off?
I remember I was in a huge town and I cut my ties with the Baron. And I remember you got really upset with me about that. Because I
Okay.
didn't, like, I don't know if I screwed up his story or like I didn't agree to do something for him. And you're like, but you have to see it through. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I've seen it through. Like, he's not talking to me anymore. So,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah. Did you
He kind of takes it upon himself to finish things. And I was like, I think I fucked up something.
you find out who his wife is? Do you remember that part?
No. Like I said, man, my memory sucks. It may be worth
Yeah.
my time to just go back through it again. I've played the beginning of that game probably 4 times.
Yeah. The beginning of that game is a little rough with that
Just being in that small space.
yeah, what is that? White
White
Hearth or something like that.
I about said White Run. That's
No,
definitely
it's
Skyrim.
yeah, it's something like that. Um man. Yeah, it depends on where you made it in that Bloody Baron quest. I'm trying to remember. Um
Yeah, I mean,
because that quest like goes and then comes back and then
mhm,
goes and then comes back and then you go and do this other quest where you fight these three crones, these three witches.
I did
Uh,
that.
depending on what you do, there's that's the best thing about that game is that whole part can play out very differently depending on what you decide to do. You go to a tree,
Mm,
this like tree monster thing, tree
mhm,
demon, and depending on what you do there affects what happens at the crones, which has a very big impact on what happens with the Bloody Baron.
mm.
Um, but yeah, you definitely did the baby thing with the Bloody
Yes.
Baron. Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Um,
I've done that like
mm,
twice now.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess my recommendation would be to like hop back into your save and see where you're at. See if you can piece together what your goal is. Um, and kind
I've
of
been
go from
series
there.
several times. I will say that.
Yeah, yeah,
Like I
you
think
would have been.
I think when I was talking to you about it, you said I may be like a third of the way through it.
Yeah, I feel like. Have you been to Skellige or Skellig, the islands? No.
I don't think so.
Yeah, so that I think happens around like level 16 or level 20 or
I'm in
something
a
like that.
big town. It's
Yeah,
huge.
yeah, you're in shit. What the hell is the name of that town? Uh, Witcher 3 towns. You're in Novigrad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Novigrad. Yep, yep,
yeah.
yep.
It's the big town in that game. Um, yeah. Then you may or may not have seen that Bloody Baron quest through because you'll go and see his daughter in Novigrad.
I've met
Um,
her.
yeah.
And that's the thing. Like he rode through town with some people and he like invited me along and I told him no. So that's and I kind of left off there.
Mm,
And he was kind of like, "Well, I'm going to take this upon myself." I don't remember. I'm sure it had to do with his wife. So, um, yeah,
yeah. That whole story revolves around him and his wife's kind of relationship.
right.
And his daughter. I mean,
Which they
for
sound
sure.
awful, but you know,
Uh,
I did some
yeah. I
witch
mean,
stuff, like going almost like a separate map, like in a very swampy area.
yeah. In the
Um,
bog, Crookback Bog.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay, I did that.
Yep. Um. Man.
It may come back to me, and like I don't want to play 25 hours of a game I've already played, so maybe I just need to pull the Wikipedia up to like arriving in Novigrad, and then I would be fine. Um, how I know you kind of did everything in that game, right?
Yeah.
So like I don't typically do that in games. Am I gonna miss out on a lot if I don't do that?
I mean, yes and no. Like,
Okay,
there are definitely side quests in that game that are just okay,
sure.
but there are some side quests in that game that are really good. Um, but I th- I think it's more important for you to experience the DLCs
Okay,
than it is to experience those side quests because those two DLCs are far and away, in my opinion, the two best expansions for any RPG ever.
okay,
Um, Hearts of Stone is the first one, um, and Blood and Wine is the second one. Blood and Wine uh, basically takes you to an entire other map that's like 50% of the size of the main
oh
Witcher map,
my
which is
gosh.
fucking gigantic, and it looks like a fairy tale. Like you walk in and there's this giant castle, and you're just like, game is fucking beautiful and like
Yeah.
crazy. This is crazy. This is a DLC expansion. Like what is going on? Like it changed like the whole game changes at that point. And they introduce like all these new mechanics. You get access to these different powers and stuff. So you're constantly upgrading Geralt. And same thing with Hearts of Stone. Hearts of Stone pulls like a total uh like pulls the rug out from under your feet. Um the way that DLC opens is really really good. But those two DLCs, I think anybody who's played The Witcher and has gotten through like the main Witcher story should play those two because I think in some ways those two DLCs are better than the main story.
Is that how it is? Is it you beat the story and then you launch into DLC 1 and then DLC 2, or are
It
they
it
intertwined at some
puts
point?
it puts those right on the map, like
Oh, okay.
when you download them. I don't know if there's a recommended level for each one.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, I mean those two DLCs I think are more important than you trying to do everything in the main game. I think if you mainline the main game and you're like that fucking game was amazing, then you should play the DLCs. You know, um, and even if you if they're not level gated too harshly, you should at least try them because I don't think they're
Okay.
super long. Um, I don't know if How Long to Beat has. Uh,
The DLC.
uh, yeah, Hearts of Stone is 10 hours.
Oh, okay.
Um, and Blood and Wine will be a little longer, 15 and a half. So there's 25 hours of DLC,
I
like
already have it.
top notch. Moi, like to complete everything in Blood and Wine is 40 hours. There's so much in that expansion.
Wow.
There's a whole other game there. That's a whole other video game. Is Blood and Wine. Yeah.
Gee.
Um, I
Is
hope I hope you get back to it and get into
I
it
really do too, man.
and can can finish it. I don't know. I've tried to go back and like recapture that, and I've been chasing that ever since I beat it. But I played that game in a very weird time in my life where
Yes.
I didn't have the internet.
Right.
Like I didn't have internet at my house. So I had a PlayStation 4, the Witcher 3 disc, and that's it. Like I couldn't play anything else, and I
Did you have
didn't
to
play
like take
anything
your
else.
PlayStation to the office to run updates and stuff?
I did. I took my PlayStation into my office and hooked it up, um,
Oh
and
my
downloaded
gosh.
all the DLCs for The Witcher, and like downloaded updates for The Witcher. Yeah. Yep. I absolutely did that.
That's so great.
But
So we'll see. That might be my update for a while is hey, I'm gonna do the Witcher 3 check-in and see if I can finally finish that game. Um so speaking of CD Projekt Red though, like they just announced their Cyberpunk DLC. What's your thoughts on that? Is that gonna get you back into what is it? What's the city called? Night City?
Night City, yeah, Night
Yeah.
City. I don't know. Haven't read up a whole lot about it. That's a game that I would like to go back to and just mainline that story.
Yeah.
Um, but the performance of that game is still kind of bad. It still doesn't
Right.
run the best, and that just kind of bothers me. Um, so maybe with this new update, if they've upgraded the performance a little bit, um, I don't know. Maybe someday. Right now, it's like not even on my radar.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, what else anything else games? I think that's it for me. I'm not playing anything on my phone like I thought I would.
Yeah.
Um yeah, there's good stuff on there. I mean, Netflix has their game catalog which has some good stuff like Apple Arcade's been releasing some good stuff lately. I just haven't engaged with any of that. Um like I know you say this a lot, but dude, work has been super busy and
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
getting to a point to where like I'm just thinking about it like way too much. Um was watching we were watching something and I just got to a point where I grabbed my phone and just started looking up like a question that's been bothering me at work. Like, it's starting to creep into outside of work, which bums me out. I hate that I let it do that, but it happens. So,
Yeah, I've got that same problem. Like I will just pick up my phone and like open my work email on a
yeah, oh yeah.
Saturday. Like totally involuntarily. Like I have like email notifications turned off on my phone
I wish I
because
could do that.
I have to. I couldn't live that life. Like I could not do that. Um yeah, I would be on so many meds at that point. It wouldn't be any fun. Um But I've been thinking about actually not to change the subject a ton. But Apple has like those modes that you can like put your phone in. Like, hey, I'm at home or hey, I'm at work or whatever. They have like a buzzword for it. And I've thought about doing that, like when I'm at home, like making all my work apps just like go off my home screen. Or like I think you can do that,
Oh,
right?
I've never engaged with something like that. I just have bedtime mode where about 10:25 at night, my
Right.
phone actually plays a little lullaby
Oh,
and
okay.
it's just like, "Hey, you should go to bed." and then I ignore it and stay up until like 11:30.
Oh,
So,
focus. They call it focus.
oh,
Yeah.
I've heard of
You have
that.
like
Okay.
you have like do not disturb, sleep, personal, and work. So I wonder, yeah, like I need to look into that and see like maybe that would help me out a little
I
bit.
mean, I do the same thing too, especially like waking up. Like I wake up and my alarm is going off, so I hit the button and then there's all your notifications. So
Mhm.
I don't have the willpower to just ignore that. And
Right.
being in IT, I'm just like, did something happen? And I
Right.
hate waking up and that being my first thought. Did something happen?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like I like during the week, like I wake up and I'm like in my email. Like, okay,
Within
what do I need
minutes.
within minutes? Like, what do I got to
That's
do today?
that
Like,
sucks.
that's when I probably plan like 90% of my day like within the first 15 minutes of me waking up. Like, here's the thing I need to do. I'm like adding stuff to like my to-do list and then like I get in the shower.
Wow.
So, I don't know, but maybe that's unhealthy. Maybe I should do that when I
But
get to
that's
work.
so
I
unhealthy,
don't know.
man.
I know.
But I'm saying that as in like I do the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I like that you my shower routine is so fucked up, Rich. It's so fucked up because like I used to be when I went to an office, it was like wake up at 6, fucking eat, shower in the office by 8.
Whoa, you would eat before you showered?
Yeah, cuz I'll eat and then like brush my teeth after, like shower, brush your teeth. You got to do
Mm,
the 3 S's, you got to shower, shit and shave. Maybe not in that
mhm,
order, but Yeah, I would typically eat first.
okay.
Chug some water, eat. Now I definitely eat because with like my medicine and how all that works, I basically
Mhm,
got to get food in me like as soon as I wake up. So, um, but yeah, that's but now it's weird because like I work from home, so I wake up at 7 now. Used to wake up earlier. Hell, I used to stream in the mornings, right?
mhm.
So
Yep.
now like my routine's real weird. Like I wake up at 7 and I get out of bed and I grab all my shit and I start a cup of coffee and I watch Dragon Ball Super. That's the that's the first thing I do. As I'm doing this, I've already checked my phone. I'm like pouring a bowl of cereal or just something small to take with medicine,
Mhm.
and I don't shower. So I start work at 8, and I'm still sitting downstairs when my kids are getting ready for school. I'm in a robe, or I'm just under a blanket, and I'm like logged on, got my dailies out there, like what I'm doing, check M365 message center, like anything going on, check the IT triage group, just make sure everything's fine. And then it's sometimes lunch before I take a shower. Or
Mm.
it's one of those things where it's like, oh, I gotta mow the grass, so I'm just gonna wait. I don't know, it's just so funny, like being at home. I feel like I miss the routineness. I just need to get back into a routine. Like having to be out the door made it to where like boom, boom, boom. Here was my morning.
Oh, yeah,
But now,
yeah.
like
Like, I gotta
now,
have
it's
my yeah, yeah, like, I gotta have my 7-year-old, like, to daycare, like, at 7.
right.
So, like, I gotta get up at 6, get myself ready, get my 2 kids ready, get them to daycare, like, by that time.
No, mine is just like I feel like it's lazy, but it's also like I don't need to do that. It's so strange because my kids don't start school till almost 9. Their bus picks them up
Oh,
at like 8:30 something,
yeah,
8:40.
my daycare buses my 7-year-old to school. So, she doesn't ride the big yellow bus, they bus her there. So,
Okay.
even when I was working from home, I was having to do the routine,
Sure.
get the kids dropped off. Yeah, because my wife goes to work super early because she works in the medical field.
Mhm.
So she has to be at work at, like, 6 a.m. So she can't and the daycare doesn't open till 6:30. So I have to be the one to do that.
Sure.
So even when I was working from home, I was still having to get up, do the whole thing. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I need to get into like a better routine because it's all over the freaking place, man. I just fit it in when I can, I guess. But yeah, it's so unhealthy. Like the whole like iOS stuff that's coming out, like I want more ways to disassociate from work when I'm outside of work, but I have no idea how to do that. I don't know how my phone is going to train me how to do that either. It's just especially cuz it's also right here.
Yep.
So, it's like I love this thing, but it's even that much further into if the second I get an email, it's buzzing and boom, I
No,
just
that
gotta.
is so unhealthy. You have to
Oh, I
turn that
know.
off.
No, I
No.
I I just
Like
haven't, but I know I need to. But
I yeah, I can't have Outlook notifications on my phone. Like if I do that, like if an email came in, I would have like I'd have to deal with it. Like I don't want to do that. Like it's
right,
after work. Like if something that bad happens, somebody will call me, you know.
yeah. Well, I'm the role I'm in. People email me with problems, and if I ignore it, it's still gonna like
Those
it could
people.
it could be a lot worse. So by the time I actually get around to it, so the quicker I can solve problems, the better. But that's getting to be a little better, but still, there's the my help desk days are still ingrained in me of I need to take care of this because if I don't address it, it will just accumulate and not you
Mhm.
know so
Yeah.
anyway. We'll talk about some Apple stuff here in a little bit. Let's get into some movies and TV. What's been going on there? How you liking House of the Dragon?
I'm liking it, man.
Are you caught up? You're 3 episodes deep.
I'm 3 episodes deep.
Okay.
Um yeah, this third episode I thought was pretty good. Lots more political intrigue. Uh kind of kind of jumped ahead in time like a couple years
Yeah, three. I think it
from
surprised me.
episode 2. Um so
It's moving. I
it's
mean,
moving along, man. Yeah, shit's happening. It's kind of setting the stage for this kind of standoff between King Viserys, his daughter, his new wife. Kind of, you've got all these people involved and kind of pushing for power. I mean, it is Game of Thrones, uh, so that's all interesting. And then you have the Daemon stuff kind of happening off to the side with the Valerians. Um, I I'm enjoying it.
yeah, same.
I think it's pretty good so far. I Not to spoil, but I've heard there's like a big time jump.
Hmm. Okay.
Like we're gonna get different actors for people.
Wow. Okay.
Um, at least
Like
that's what
the
I've heard.
baby?
Yeah,
Oh, I'm
and
sure that. Yeah. If they have to.
I think that Rhaenyra, I think she's gonna get a different actress.
Wow.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, I think they're doing a whoop, big jump. Yeah, yeah,
So it's based on Fire and Blood. Is that what the book is
yeah.
called?
That's the book he wrote when he wasn't writing the book he was supposed to be writing.
And
But
HBO is just
now,
like, we'll do it.
but now the NFL season starts this weekend, so George R. R. Martin is just full into fantasy football now. Yeah, I think he's really into fantasy football. I hope that's not something I made up in my head. Uh, I will Google that because I'm pretty sure he's really into fantasy football.
I didn't
Uh,
know that. Doesn't surprise me if he is, but um, yeah, this show that they're like, I mean, it's got picked up for a second season is based on one book. Is there more lore out there that's already written that they're pulling from? Like, is he writing a sequel to Fire and Blood?
no, I don't know. I don't know how much. I don't know if this is like a beat for beat of Fire and Blood, but he's like heavily involved with this. So
Oh, okay.
I would he, he's like giving this his stamp of approval and shit on old Game of Thrones like
Yeah,
while he's
I've
doing
seen
it.
that.
Um, so yeah, I think he is given his blessing um for that stuff. Um it's really odd. Like a lot of people are just it's hard to judge like TV shows now, I feel like, from like critic ratings and like what people are saying on the internet.
Right.
Um, because people just hate stuff. Like I feel like everybody is turned into like the shitty version of like the Star Wars fanboy. You know what I mean? Like that just hates everything and just doesn't want to live anymore.
Right.
Like I don't know. I
It's almost like you get nitpicky people just to nitpick. And they enjoy that just as much as like watching the show.
right. Like there's people like nitpicking House of the Dragon because of like these little adaptations that are happening and like little changes and stuff and like I guess some of them don't like the Viserys actor because he comes across like a little more like inept than the character does in the book.
Okay.
Like that I've heard that's kind of a complaint of some people. I don't know if it's like like a hive mind or whatever,
Mhm.
but and like I don't know how to say this. There are a lot of people mad that there are people of color in Game of Thrones and Rings of Power. Uh,
Oh, geez.
because now like the first thing that happens is if there's anything uh that could even be considered as woke,
Mhm.
this
Oh,
whole
sure.
like group of people will immediately hate it.
Right.
Um, and that's been like the big thing with like the Sandman, uh,
Mhm.
Game of Thrones, and it's really funny with the Sandman because that shit is old, like,
Right. Yeah.
and it's the same. Like people were really mad that Death, um, Death in the TV show is a black woman, and Neil Gaiman is like, "Yo, they're the endless. They fucking change. Like, keep reading the shit. There's gonna be a Shakespeare part here in a little bit. Like,
Right.
there's
Yeah.
a whole part with a cat. Like, what the fuck is like?
Right.
If this was woke, it was woke 30 years ago. Like, what are you talking
Mhm.
about?" And George R. R. Martin has kind of said the same thing. He's like, uh, he's like, you guys realize I just made all this up, right? Like, literally, I made this up from my head. Like, like you people are like ready to like stab yourselves in the heart to like save it, but I made it up while I was eating like a bowl of
I
Cheerios.
made it up. I love
Yeah,
that.
I made it up. It's all made up. You know, and it's like I was trying to like wrap my head around. I know we're not talking about Rings to Power yet, Lord of the Rings, but um, it Lord that show is kind of reintroducing some characters from or it's like a prequel. Like it's like what like the Lord of the Rings trilogy takes place in like what the third age or the fourth age. I don't know. I don't know my Lord of the Rings uh, lore very well, but like it has like Galadriel and Elrond, who's
Mhm.
played by the can't remember that actor's name in Lord of the Rings, but it has like some characters that you would be familiar with if you watched the Peter Jackson movies. Um, and I was like, oh yeah, like what's this guy? Like I'm googling, like what's this guy's thing, or what's Galadriel? Like I remember her. She's that uh like mystical elf lady, not Steven Tyler's daughter, but the other one.
Right.
Uh,
The blonde.
and like I'm looking it up, and like people are fighting about if that was really a warrior or not, and like people are reading J.R.R. Tolkien letters that he wrote before he died to like figure out like because I guess Rings of Power is based on like appendices, like little bits and pieces that he had put together, like not like a full cohesive story.
Oh,
What
wow.
this is based on, and so there's a lot of uh like a lot of this is newly developed stuff in like a time era that he didn't have fully fleshed out. Um, and like people are like, no, she wasn't like that. He said he wasn't like that. And then people are literally quoting like 16 paragraph quotes from these letters where they're like, nope, he did. He said she did this stuff. So we can probably say that she was a warrior, and because like people are mad because there's a woman that's a warrior. I don't
Right.
know, like, but it's funny because like I got down this Reddit thread of like, who was that lady? She was just like a little like god entity that Gandalf talked to, or at least that's what I thought. And I like fell down this rabbit hole of people literally just quoting like these like random texts in the Cimmerillion and like all these J.R.R. Tolkien letters that he's like wrote at some point. And like it's like the longest Reddit post like by a single person I've ever seen because it literally is like 16 paragraphs like highlighted and notated, and like the next comment is just like, this was awesome. You know, this is the best Reddit post ever. You know, and it's just like, God, you people are so worried about this.
Yeah.
Like, I just wanted to know who they were. Like, I think the show's fun.
And
Am I
it's
allowed
like
to?
it's
Am I
all made
allowed to
up.
have? Yeah, it's all made up. Yeah, is it allowed to just be fun?
No.
No. Yeah, and so that's kind of where I've like come full circle. It's like the Wheel of Time show was kind of a disaster, and I make fun of a friend at work all the time because he's rereading all those books,
Oh,
and
jeez.
every time he's like, "Oh yeah, I made it through the second book," and I'm like, "Oh, you're still reading those shitty books based on that shitty TV show? That's pretty good." Uh, so so I'm like, I'm convinced like people that are so like into like those worlds, like they're their own little like they're their own thing. Like, oh no, this is mine. Like Wheel of Time is mine. Like
Hmm.
The Witcher 3 is mine. You know, like those people just aren't allowed to have fun anymore. Like it
No.
can't be fun. It has to be super serious. You know, we're talking about elves, man. You know, and somebody was complaining because some of the freaking hobbits were black and like uh or I guess what do they call it in Rings of Power? Harfoots.
Mm.
I didn't know up until this point that there were different types of hobbits.
I didn't
Apparently
either.
there were. And like I saw a quote of like in like the first chapter of Lord of the Rings, J.R.R. Tolkien describes the Harfoots as browner of skin. And so
Huh.
people are and so people are like, yeah, no, this is like totally
It's
okay. And
sure.
I'm over here like, why does it matter?
Right.
Does
Exactly.
it doesn't matter. Is I don't know. But yeah, a lot of that, like it's so hard to tell, like, do people like Game of Thrones or not? I'm not sure. I like it.
Yeah.
Do other people like it? I don't know. Does the hive mind that is the internet like it? I can't tell because everybody just hates everything now,
Right.
and nobody's allowed to have fun with a TV show.
I'm
Um,
really digging it. You know I think it's different because of how fast it's moving. Like I felt like Game of Thrones, like from those first couple seasons, was really slow, and
oh yeah,
you really, really got intimate with people.
yeah,
And I feel like this one is it's different. It's moving quicker. You are kind of getting to know. There's a lot of characters already, and you are starting to get to know them. But really, they're on camera for maybe a dozen minutes, and so
mhm,
um it's hard at this point, only being 3 episodes into it, to like have a connection with Rhaenyra, or however you say her name. um and I like Viserys, but yeah, I'm not like fully committed, but it's my favorite show I'm watching right now. um I tried
okay,
watching Lord of the Rings, or the Rings of Power, um and we got about 30 minutes into the first episode, and I was just like, I'm not into this right now. Like, I love Lord of the Rings, and I'm sure the show will be fun to watch, but we're in the middle of watching a lot of stuff right now, and I'm just like, I've already got a fantasy show. I'm watching multiple funny shows. We're watching. I'm like in the middle of like 7 or 8 things. I'm like, I don't want to add another thing right now. Like maybe once it's all done, or maybe once Game of Thrones is over, or House of the Dragon is over, I'll pick it up. Um, it seems like people are okay on it. They think it's good. I seen a news article that may or may not be true that Jeff Bezos' son basically told Jeff Bezos don't F it up when it came to Lord of the
Right, yeah,
Rings,
yeah.
which I thought was cute if that's actually true. Um, but and it seemed interesting, but I just was like, I can only consume so much media, and I'm kind of tapped out on my TV front right now, so I just want to wrap up a couple things. But you said you're liking it.
I am. I finished episode 1 and about halfway through episode 2. I like it. It's very pretty.
Mm,
It's kind of it's I mean, the first episode is it's a pilot. It's like setting the stage for this big thing that now is kind of starting to take shape in episode 2. Um but again, I'm not like living or dying by all these little things that it is or isn't doing.
right.
I like it just introduced the dwarves, and they're
Mm,
fucking cool and funny and like sweet. It's going down like the right path, for me at least. But like I'm not sitting there, looking at the dwarves and going, oh, up, 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 that's not the right armor. The
right.
right armor.
Oh, sure.
Kind of like when I was watching Prey, and I was like, this lady keeps banging this axe into the ground, and she keeps dulling this freaking axe, or like, oh, that's not quite right. It's like there's about to be an alien in this stupid movie. Like I
Right.
don't,
Right. Just let it
whatever,
go.
just let it go.
Yeah.
Um, but I feel like Marvel is like starting to hit that point where people are so invested in like the connected universe now of all these movies that the last two movies that have hit have kind of I don't think had the impact that they thought they were going to
Right.
have. And because I think I saw a story that the director of Thor is
He's not
not
coming back. No.
coming back. Yeah, that I guess that movie kind of bombed
I
in
mean,
their eyes.
Ragnarok was so high, and Love and Thunder just
Yeah,
didn't come close to it. So,
yeah. And
which
they've
he's also going to Star Wars, so he'll be fine. you know.
right. Yeah, yeah. And like it's weird because like Marvel and Star Wars, I feel like are about to like flip flop where anything Star Wars does right now, people seem to like.
Mm-hmm.
And now people are kind of quieting down on Marvel a little bit. They're taking the fun out of Marvel. And I think it's hard because you've all the all the heroes are gone. You know, Chris Evans is gone, Robert Downey Jr. is gone. How long is Tom Holland going to be around? I think Chris Pratt was saying that he's kind of done after I
Right.
think whatever this next movie is. Um, like, what are they going to do? And like Star Wars is pulled from all of its other stuff, and started pulling
It's
some of those
pulling from the
characters
right
in.
pieces.
Yeah, like Ahsoka and Andor. People are really into that Andor uh, show. I can't remember when that comes out. It's soon.
Yeah, it's soon.
Um, but yeah, it's kind of I don't know. I feel like TV and like movie media is in a very weird place right now, where um, it's just so saturated with stuff.
Yeah,
And like you were saying the last podcast, like we have like Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings coming out every week, man. Like
I
this is
know.
crazy.
And a
This
Disney
is
thing, or I'm sorry, and a Star Wars thing, and
yep,
honestly, like She-Hulk, fucking rocks.
yeah,
That is surprising me how good that show is. It's ridiculous,
mm,
but they're kind of nailing it, honestly.
yeah,
So it's like
yeah,
I'm getting hit with Marvel, with Lord of the Rings, with freaking Goku right now, like Game of Thrones. It's just
yeah,
there is a lot that's kind of vying for our attention right now, and
yeah.
it's overwhelming for sure. Um, but yeah, so House of the Dragon, I'm on board for. Lord of the Rings, I'll get to it at some point. Was there anything else you wanted to mention about those two shows?
No, I'm gonna keep watching and
Okay.
see how they end up.
So we did finish Nathan for You. It's probably some of the weirdest TV I've ever seen, but I don't know a single person that I would recommend it to, yet I would want everyone to watch it. It's so strange, this show and the rehearsal. His type of humor is so unique. Very deadpan, super serious. The last episode was just wild. I won't get into it, but it was that show wrapped up really cool. With like an hour and a half long episode, and I was falling asleep on the couch at like 10 o'clock, and when that episode hit, I was up until 11:30 watching it. Like it was pretty cool. Saw a couple movies. Watched Predator. To continue my Prey and Predator track. So
Mm.
I'd say so far, I think Predator is a stronger movie than Prey. I enjoyed Prey. Um, but I think the nostalgia of 80s movies kind of like helped Predator quite a bit.
Yeah.
Um, Especially within the first 5 minutes of that movie. Um, I didn't know the Dylan, you son of a bitch. I didn't know that that was
Yep.
Predator. So when Arnold says that to fucking Apollo Creed and they do the clasp
Yep.
and you see their fucking beefy arms
Yep.
and the camera like pans on that for about 4 seconds. 4 seconds of just looking at this meat on these
Yep.
arms is
Yep.
like, okay, I know yes, that's so good. Um the music, the score, like felt so 80s, but that guy or whoever does that music is still doing music today. Like he's
Mhm.
done so many blockbuster movies, but it's like that 80s like, people are walking and you hear like the like it's just
Yeah.
I don't it's just something about it that's like, this is good. It's hyper
No,
violent.
yeah, the sound design in that movie is very good because
Oh my gosh,
they start
yes.
putting in those predator noises, like those clicking noises,
Yes.
and like yeah, so like now you understand when we were playing Ghost Recon and we were running through the woods and I heard that fucking noise, I was like,
See, they didn't really
"Whoa,
get into that
whoa."
enough in Prey. Like,
Right,
Prey
right,
didn't have enough fucking Predator in it. Like,
right, yeah,
I like the tribe of people. Like, that was all cool, but I want more Predator. And Predator, the movie Predator, has a lot of Predator in it.
yeah,
It takes a long time, almost like an hour. This movie's about an hour and 40 minutes. And it really
mhm,
takes about an hour before you really see him. But that motherfucker takes his mask off. And I was just
mhm,
like, holy shit. Like seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger like covered in mud and like he kind of like camouflages himself. The predator can't see the heat coming from him. And it's so intense. He's fucking walking right past him. And Arnold Schwarzenegger being fucking covered in mud and just seeing him wide eyed and just seeing the whites of his eyes. Dude, that guy is scary. That was it was a really cool, intense movie. Um,
yeah,
I've learned a lot of ways of how not to kill a predator. So now I know it just takes some wood to the head, and you're good. But what's funny is it literally starts just like Prey. Prey is just
it's
like,
it is very much like they're kind of the same movie.
yeah,
Like
kinda,
the predator comes and just starts fucking people up, but also underestimates them. And
yes,
then when the protagonist figures out the predator's bullshit, the tables turn.
right,
And then like the whole like when I'm watching Prey, like I know like
yeah, right,
the whole if you rub yourself in mud or if you lower your he sees by body temperature. So like in Prey when throughout the whole movie they're talking about giving them that salve or whatever, making them eat those leaves and it lowers their body temperature.
oh,
Like so
right,
the very first time they did that, I'm like, oh well, that's gonna come in pretty handy
yeah.
here in a minute when the alien shows up,
I didn't
you
make
know.
that connection,
Yeah,
so
and so like I got that because when Arnold rubs himself in the mud and figures out, oh, this thing sees through like heat.
right.
Yeah, yeah. And then the classic what the hell are you?
Yeah.
That
Right.
that
Yeah.
that's like
Yep.
a classic thing. Like,
And
what the
get to
hell
the
are you?
chopper like that.
Get to
I
the
was just
chopper. Yeah.
like, oh
Oh my
my
gosh.
gosh.
Yeah. Like, man. Yeah.
Great movie. Fucking great,
Fantastic movie.
great movie. I can't wait till like my kids are old enough to like you all gotta watch fucking Predator. This movie rocks. It's so good.
How did you go? How did you go?
I know, man. I have such a like
30 plus.
when I watch those movies, I love them, you know? Like Ashley's really really big on like and I'm going to call them classics. I know they're 80s movies, but like she loves go like she has such a deep appreciation of that when she introduces me to stuff or I'll say when she forces me to watch them, I always walk away from them just like fuck, man, that was a good movie. Um
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Predator 2 is like the B movie version of Predator. It
That's fine.
is it's very good in like its own shitty straight to VHS way.
And it's got Danny Glover, I
Got
seen.
Danny Glover and Gary Busey in it. So it is
Fucking Gary Busey. I didn't know Gary Busey's in
oh,
it.
dude. Oh, are you in for a treat?
Oh
Yeah.
god.
Yeah, it is it is a treat. Yeah.
Fucking Gary Busey. Okay, so enjoyed that. Yeah, that was a heck of a movie. I did watch a movie called Ambulance. It was like
Mm.
Saturday night. Was just kind of looking around trying to figure out what we were going to watch. Kind of like, we'll do the thing where we toss the remote to each other like just pick something. No, you pick something. I was like,
Yeah.
I've heard Ambulance is good. Um, I've heard people say that it kind of takes Michael Bay back to like the Bad Boys days, where if you watch
Oh,
like
okay.
a Michael Bay movie now, they're just so over the top, like ridiculous. Um, but this one's like a little more grounded, It's got oh, I'm blanking on the guy's name. It's fucking one of the villains from Spider-Man, but
Jake Gyllenhaal.
thank you, Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah. So it's basically like a over an hour long chase where
Okay.
these people are like robbing. Spoiler: these people rob a bank. To get out, they hijack an ambulance. So you get to
Ah,
know the people in the ambulance and the hijackers quite well. Um, they gave Michael Bay a really nice drone, and Michael
okay.
Bay uses this drone about maybe 15 minutes of the movie. There are so many shots where the camera is just like like he loved it, man. So he definitely overused the drone shots in this movie. Um, but if you're gonna give him a drone, he loves doing gimmicky shit like that. So yeah.
Yeah.
But overall, I thought that movie was pretty good. Fun little action movie. I'd recommend it. So and that came out this year. I heard a little bit about it, but honestly, I'm like, I don't fucking care about some movie about an ambulance. Like, who gives a shit? But it was just a lot of people's like, yo, it's a legit good action movie. So watch that, and
Okay.
I thought it was pretty good. Yes, what's up?
I know I've asked you this before, but have you seen Prisoners yet?
Prisoners? No.
Yeah, you got to watch that.
I,
You and
I,
the
I,
wife.
we talked about this on a podcast, right?
We've talked about this on a podcast. Jake Gyllenhaal is in that movie.
Oh, and Hugh
Uh,
Jackman. Yeah.
yeah, it is fantastic.
All right.
It is from the guy who directed Dune. So
Oh yeah, Denise
yeah,
Villan. Yeah, whatever.
Villeneuve. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that is a
Mm,
fantastic movie. It is
okay.
not kid appropriate, but
Sure.
it is a great movie with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Neither was. Oh, so we are like exploring my daughter. Like she's staying up later, and we're
Mm,
kind of exploring like what is her level of tolerance with like bad TV. Because if she hears like somebody say fuck on TV, she's just like, oh, like, so we're like, okay, we'll
mm,
turn this off. So I was like, not knowing anything about Predator, I knew it was going to be a
ooh,
violent movie. I'm like,
oops.
okay, so I'm going to turn this on And as soon as it starts getting bad, I'll pause it. Literally, they're in the helicopter, and this guy starts talking about this lady's big fucking vagina. And I was like, the thing is, and I know I've told you this before, is
Ah.
we turn subtitles on. We've done it for, it's like it's this gross habit we have now. Um, so I paused it where like, oh, but she can't hear that, and then on the screen it just says big fucking vagina. So I'm like, don't read this. Okay, you need to go to bed. I really want to
Yep,
watch this movie. But yeah, so
that's pretty good.
it was really stupid. That's all I've watched. Man, I'm telling you, She-Hulk, like we fell off Moon Knight. We gave Miss Marvel a couple episodes, fell off that. She-Hulk, we're in. That's cool. It's funny. They have characters kind of come and go. And the main actress that plays She-Hulk, like she's great. Really cool show. So that's it for me. And I will say, like on the book front, I read the entirety of Wise Guys.
What is Wise Guys?
It is the book that is based around Goodfellas.
Oh, okay.
So I've never seen Goodfellas. So I that was the thing that it was on hold for Libby for about 8 weeks. It came in and it was like, it's a short book. I'll just go ahead and read it. Hey, turns out Wise Guy's a pretty good little book.
Uh,
So I gotta watch the movie now.
I don't want to
So
ask any more questions.
I'll have to see like who plays Henry. I need to know who plays Henry and who plays like all the fucking mob people. I will say Sopranos tells a more interesting mob story, but Wise
Mm.
Guys was a pretty interesting book. It's weird. I don't know if the movie's set like this, but it's like after the fact they're interviewing people about what has happened. So, um is if the movie's like that, I don't know. But I will watch it before the next podcast. So it'll be Predator 2 and fucking Goodfellas will be my next movies that I'm watching.
Prisoners.
Oh, and Prisoners. Yeah, I'll add that to the list.
Yeah.
Still reading In the Shadow of Lightning. I feel like at this point I need to just give up on it. And then I picked up a manga. You ever read a manga?
No, but it's like taking over every bookstore I go into.
Yeah. Did you know you have to read them backwards?
Excuse me.
I got about 50 pages into Berserk, which is one
Okay,
of if you Google like, hey, what's the top manga? It's like pretty much always number one. And
I've seen the logo.
yeah, and it's like on his neck. But like the hardcovers are just black, and it just says Berserk, and there's like a
Hmm.
10 of them or something. So the reason I got interested was one, it got picked up by Netflix for the old anime to come back. It only ran for like a year or two. It's not something I can watch with my kid, but it's like one of those adult ones that's really good. The whole anime or the whole manga's in black and white. All manga might be in black and white. I have no idea. But this one starts slow. It's it's super violent. So that's kind of like what's keeping me invested in it. I'm gonna read a couple
Hmm.
of them to see if it continues to build up on this character. But the main guy's name's Guts. He has this big ass sword and he's just like fucking shit up, and it seems pretty cool. So I'm reading that, and I finally broke down and bought Mistborn, and I got the or actually it's on a screen behind your face right here to check out. I don't know if adding the Audible narration will add it to my Audible app or not, but regardless, I'll have that book ready to go. I'm not going to start it until I read Hunger of the Gods. So it's going to be Hunger of the Gods and then Mistborn, but I just need to
Mm.
get done with this fucking Shadow of Lightning book. Like I'm 50% into it. I just need to be
Mm,
done with it. I need to finish it. So
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so hopefully I'll make some traction with Hunger of the Gods before we talk next. That's it for me.
Okay.
What's
Okay.
up with you?
Okay.
How's how's uh
Uh,
how's the Cosmere going for you?
the Cosmere's still moving along a little slow. I'm about like 30-40% into that book.
Oh, okay.
Not as much not as much progress as I probably should have made. Um, I'm enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of stuff's happening with kind of the major players, Shallan and
How's Shallan
Kaladin and
and Yasna?
Yasna's dead. Uh,
What?
Shallan, yeah, yeah. Yasna's dead. Uh, she got killed on a shipwreck.
Yep.
So Shallan is running around with a bunch of mercenaries and like gypsies.
Yep.
She hasn't made it to the Shattered Plains, but she has been married off to Adolin, who she hasn't met yet. Uh, so let's see,
Well,
Dalinar.
she's not technically married to him. She's kind
She's
of
just
like
like she's been
beth-
promised,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, betrothed to
Yeah,
him.
betrothed, yeah.
So Dalinar's still doing his shit. He's still being kind of a badass and you know having visions. Kaladin's just keeps getting more responsibilities.
Mhm.
Uh, that's kind
I
of
love the crew, the bridge crew. Like
Bridge Crew's pretty good.
I kind of want
Yeah.
to learn how to pronounce rock. Are,
Pron-
yeah, so
pronounce it.
his name's Rock, right? The guy
Yeah,
that
rock.
has his name is like 75 like
Oh,
letters
that's right. Yeah,
long.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I want
yeah,
to
yeah,
like I heard it cuz I listened to that piece of it cuz I did the
yeah.
thing where I listened and read it. And the guy Michael Crane, like he fucking nailed it. And I was
Mm-hmm.
just like, what did he just say? And then Rock is
Yep.
like, oh, but you can call me Rock or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
want to go back and like, what's the pronunciation of that? Because it's something ridiculous. La, 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 la. Like it was
yep,
so weird, but
yep,
uh,
yep. Fucking
yeah,
airsick
that
lowlanders.
yeah, I just love that whole bridge crew. Man, I can't wait for you to finish this book because some shit happens. Some shit happens towards the end of that book that's just like, fuck, it's
Yeah.
wild.
There's definitely a lot going on with like this other realm, Shadesmar, where like Shallan can like go there and do things. Like she's starting to kind of understand her powers a little bit. Um, and um, Kaladin hasn't done a whole lot more with like what he can do, but he's he just met some like trainer guy that's gonna like train him how to fight. So I'm thinking he's gonna learn some stuff. Maybe I don't know. That's kind of where I am in that. I need to keep making progress there. I didn't make much progress over the last week, but I'm still enjoying Words of
Yeah.
Radiance.
And then Adolin, and then the youngest son is
Renarin. Yep.
Renarin. Yeah. Anything going on with him?
He got his own shard blade and shard plate.
Okay.
Uh,
All right.
so he's been there was like a little training deal. That's where Kaladin met this training guy that I can't remember his name.
Yes. Okay.
Um,
Cool.
yeah, yep.
Mm.
Aelin's been dueling people, so yeah,
Oh, okay. Yes.
yep.
Um, how is Sadius? How's Sadius doing?
He hasn't been in the book much yet. He had one
Okay.
little chapter where he's just pissed, and him and his wife are like planning about how they're going to get back at everybody. Um, so that's all that's happened with him thus far. But I'm sure there is more to come there. Yeah,
Yeah. Cool. Oh, that's such a good book.
yeah,
That was my that's my favorite one out of the three so far. So Rhythm of War
yeah,
will be next year. I'll definitely check that one out. But
yep, yep.
all right. Anything else?
I don't think so.
You want to talk about any of this Apple stuff?
Um,
Was there anything from it that like super excited you?
I'm gonna buy the iPhone. So they announced 4 new phones: the iPhone 14, 14 Plus, which is just the bigger version of the 14,
Mm.
the 14 Pro and the 14 Pro Max, which is the bigger version of the 14 Pro. I'm gonna buy the 14 Pro. I have an 11,
I have an 11.
um,
Yeah.
so I think I'm ready for like an upgrade. And this
Hmm.
looks like a pretty big jump in not only um, like the normal ways it's faster, all that stuff, but the camera seems to be a pretty big leap this year. Um, so I think I'm gonna make the jump and buy that. They announced the Series 8 Apple Watch, which is very much just like an iteration. The big thing they focused on was temperature sensor.
Which one do
Um,
you have?
I have a Series 6.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I think it's a Series 6.
Where does it where does it say at? Does it say on the bottom?
Series 6. It's on the bottom, yeah. Yeah, Apple Watch Series 6. Yep.
Uh, I have an SE.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I have no idea how old this is.
So they announced a new SE. Yes, I don't know if they're calling it the SE2. Um, it's their like entry level. Like they were like during the show, like the presentation, like they were pitching that as like, hey, this is the Apple Watch for your kids. Like, you can hook this up to like your family sharing shit, and this is the
Oh,
one for your kids.
right.
They were kind of pushing it as that. But
Huh.
it's 249, and I think the base watch is 299, or the new Series
Right.
8 is I think 299. Um, fuck, I cannot remember how much that thing is. But then that's new Apple Watch Series 8. Um, then they announced the Apple Watch Ultra, which is like a extreme sports version. It's a bigger watch. It's got a little bit more battery. It's got all this like crazy like triathlon stuff and like hiking stuff built into it. It's like bulkier. It looks more like a Garmin watch than an Apple Watch. Um, that thing is 799,
Yeah.
which puts it kind of in the same cost as like a top tier Garmin or top tier Polar or Sunto, who are like the three big players in like the hiking and like extreme sport watch uh, kind of world. With Garmin being like far and away the leader of that whole deal.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, the Garmin watches are a really big deal for running, for triathlons, like hiking, all that stuff. Big deal. Mainly because their battery lasts a long time. Whereas like this Apple Watch Ultra is saying that it'll last 36 hours in low power mode, which is in my mind not very long,
Right.
when most Garmin's last like a week. Uh,
Oh, wow.
so depending on what you're doing with it. Um, but yeah, they had some cool stuff like in the watch. Like it was really weird. Like 40% of the presentation was just like, here's how our devices can save you from dying. So they
Okay.
showed like multiple car crashes, and
Weird.
like the guys like now the watches and the phones all have car crash detection. And like now if you get lost in the wilderness, your phone can like send text messages to a satellite that will like send it to like the fucking Coast Guard or whatever. Um, like very big on like these watches will save you. And like they were playing up like all the heart features on the watch and stuff. And this guy got stuck in a trash compactor and he only had his watch, and he used his watch to call 911, saved his life.
Mm.
Like all that kind of stuff. They really
I
played up on.
I seen that I had a temperature gauge. Like, are they? What are they? Will
Yeah,
they be able to detect if I'm like running a fever?
I'm sure they'll be able to do that. I would think so. The way that they pitched it was for cycle and ovulation tracking for women. So being able
Oh,
to
okay.
track your cycle and track your ovulation throughout that period was like
Wow.
temperature is a big part of that.
Hmm.
Um, so that's like what they pitched that temperature sensor for. But
Gotcha.
other wearables that have added temperature sensors, like in the last couple years, to COVID, um, to like be able to see spikes in your temperature.
Hmm. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So the Ultra watch was the big ad there. See what else did they add? They announced the second generation of the AirPods Pro. Um, those are very iterative, just better noise canceling, better all the things. It does all those things better. It's all better, you know. The way that Apple like presents this stuff is like a master class in like marketing. Like especially during these presentations because of like the way that like some of the names that they come up with this for this stuff and like the way they present it is just hilarious. Like it's like, what are you guys fucking talking about? Uh,
Yeah, they're
like
using like you say that watch is like Ultra. They're using Ultra for things.
yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And I guess that's because somebody else had Watch Pro copyrighted,
Oh, okay.
probably. Um, but just like they come up like with the whole like headphone jack like courage thing, like uh they're still doing that kind of stuff, and it was just really funny watching that I watched that presentation live while I was sitting and working, and they're still doing that shit where it's just like the cringiest marketing ever. That it's
Yeah.
just, but it's like really well done, and you can't help but kind of have some appreciation for it.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, guys! Like they show like their graphs, like their graphs where they're like they have like iPhone 14, iPhone 13, iPhone 12, and like the iPhone 14 one is like twice as long as the 13, but it doesn't say like what metric it's like measuring. It just has a bar that's bigger than
Just
the other one.
better.
It's
Right.
just like what are you doing? What does that even mean?
Oh my
And
god.
then it's like, oh, it's 40%, it's 40% faster. Like, what does that mean? Like how faster than what?
And that seems
I,
very 40% of already a really fast phone.
yeah, like that kind of stuff
Like
is
it's just going to get to a point to where it starts opening apps before you even think about it.
yeah. So I think the biggest change was the iPhone 14 Pro. Uh, so the Pro phones are getting rid of the top notch, and now they will have a pill shaped notch that like because it's an OLED, they can just turn off um, they can just turn off some of those LEDs and they're just black. And so this pill shaped like cutout where the front selfie camera is and like the face ID stuff is, it like grows up and down. And like it expands. So like when you turn on Apple Music and then you go back to the home screen, it'll that like pill cutout where that camera is will like expand and it'll have like a play pause button and like show like the album art. Like it's used in like notifications and like little things you can tap, and you can tap it and it'll like grow to like a little widget that you can do. Or if you I think if you tap it and hold, it goes into a little widget, and if you just tap it, it takes you to that app. And like when you get notifications, they like grow in and out of it. Have you seen this?
So I didn't watch the presentation. I kind of kept up with it from your messages in Discord,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
was very handy. I appreciate that.
yeah,
But
yeah.
no, I actually haven't watched the conference. I've seen blog posts, but I've seen a picture of it, but I don't think the picture does it justice. It looks like it's just a black bar at the top. So I'm having a hard time understanding how, like, so if you look at your phone, you can see where like the little pill is, and you can see that there's a
Right.
speaker and a camera there. So are they able to like screen over that? Can they hide that? Is that what they're
Yeah. So
doing?
I'm just gonna put this on here.
Okay.
So let me find a part where it's gonna do it here. Okay, so right here. So see how the pill like grows and it like moves. Like the camera's in there. Like
Weird.
the little notch thing is always there, but they grow the area like around it.
They like incorporate it into it a little bit.
Yeah, it's like they incorporate it like in the middle, like all that
Ooh, that's
selfie stuff
almost
is
like
still there.
the touch bar almost.
Kinda, kinda. Yeah, I never thought about that. Yeah, yeah. So that little pill shape there that we're showing on screen here, they call that the dynamic island. When they said that, people literally started laughing.
I have
We're
to
in the
incorporate.
presentation.
So normally when we name this episode, I put like 3 points on there, and I figured it's gonna be
Yeah.
Predator and fucking I don't know House of the Dragon. I gotta throw a Dynamic Island on there too. That's I can't pass up that.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, it looks really cool. Like that little pill thing, like growing, and
Hmm.
it looks like a decent quality of life feature. Like because that notch, like on my phone now, is totally just useless. Like it does
Right,
nothing.
just gets in the way.
Yeah. Like they've found a way, like in only the way
That's
Apple
pretty
can.
cool. Yeah,
It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
it's very gimmicky, but yeah, I like it.
It is. It
Hmm.
is. Yeah. So that's I'm gonna buy that phone. I'm not gonna buy a watch.
So
Um,
do you have to have that phone for that feature?
yes, it's only
That's
on the
not that's
14
not
Pro.
a iOS. Okay.
Nope, nope. It's only on
Mm,
the 14 Pro and Pro Max. It's
Max.
not on the 14 base or 14 plus.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Hmm, okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, anything else? Oh
Oh
my.
man, I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, this was a longer episode.
It was.
All right. Well, let's I gotta move some windows. Get that out of my way. Thank you all so much for watching, for listening, for streaming. If you want to check out any of our past episodes, you can go to bitpunch.tech. And you can always send us an email. We will read it on the show at emails@bitpunch.tech. You can check out our Twitch streams at BitPunch or at twitch.tv/BitPunch. You can follow us on Twitter at BitPunch. You can check out our archive streams on our YouTube channel at BitPunch @user/BitPunch. And check out our newsletter at bitpunch.substack.com. All of these links can be found on our website at bitpunch.tech. And that is going to do it for us tonight. Thank you, Rich.
Thank you.
We will be back in a couple weeks. Talk about some Predator 2 and a bunch of other stuff. So hopefully I'll make some progress into The Witcher. I think I will see where my save takes me. But yeah, thanks. Thanks again, and we will be back. Have a good night.